Grab your drinks and have a seat. It's time for serial killers.
Hello.
Yeah.
We're here as per usual every single week, and I am T,
And I am Jay.
and we are here to tell you about serial killers. Normally, we take this time to like chitty chat, chitty bang bang.
But this thing is pages.
This episode is like 8 pages. 8 pages. And I don't want to turn it into a 2-part because I don't think there's enough for 2 parts. But it's a lot. So we're going to jump right into it. But we're going to start, of course, with the typical.
What am I drinking?
Well, what am I drinking? What are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking water because we just got done with the first workout of the year. And so I needed some
Fair.
H2O to replenish the old body.
I'm right there with you. I'm drinking water as well because, as Jay said, we were at the gym. I'm literally hating my life, but it's part of getting old and being healthy. And
if we want to keep doing this, we got to take care of ourselves.
I guess. So, yeah. So we had to go to the gym today. And so now I'm just drinking water to replenish my stuff. And this is nighttime, so that's why. Actually, what really sounds good to me, though, is to have a tea with honey, but I did not make one. So I'm drinking water.
There will definitely be a tea later in the evening's plans.
Probably.
For sure.
Probably. So we're going to jump right into it. Who are we talking about this week? We are talking about a man named Carl Panzram. Panzram. Now, Carl has a shit ton of aliases, so I didn't even write them down. He has 22 victims. His location of murders are New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Kansas. His murder dates are 1920 to 1929. His method of murder is strangulation, shooting, and bludgeoning.
So just destroying people.
And characteristic? Robbery.
Ooh.
So here's something that's really different about this episode. This 8 pages of information is majority background information on Carl. The murders themselves, there is not really any specifics about the murders. So the murder part is very short, and then his capture is not all that long either. So most of this is literally just learning about Carl and his life and all the crimes he did prior to becoming a serial killer. So keep that in mind. So Carl was born June 28th, 1891 near East Grand Forks, Minnesota. He was raised on a family farm. He was the 6th of 7 children. His parents were East Prussian immigrants, John Panzram, and his mother was Matilda Elizabeth Lizzie Panzram. Okay, so obviously they went by John and Lizzie. Carl and his siblings worked on the family farm. Forcibly worked on the family farm. Their parents made them work on the farm. So much so that they didn't go to school or like anything. They were forced to be on the farm. This is until truancy laws took effect, which a truancy law is if you don't go to school, if you're of a certain age and you don't go to school enough times, the police come a knocking. So now they have to go to school. So the truancy laws take effect. They are forced now to go to school, and his parents are pissed because they're like, we have 7 fucking kids and these motherfuckers have to go to school.
Who's going to take care of the farm
Who's going to
now?
take care of the farm? So the kids go to school during the day, and then Carl's parents make the kids work at night on the farm. To the point where Carl actually stated that he would get about 2 hours of sleep per night because he would be working on the farm and have to go to school. And there was a 2-hour time period where they where they were like done with their chores, not chores, their slave labor. And then they would go to school, which is extremely, by the way, unhealthy for children.
Yeah.
Now the punishment game in this house was unfucking real. So if you did something wrong, like a punishment, like in my home when my kids were little, when I punished them, they'd like get something taken away or be sent to not their rooms because they had shit in their rooms to do. I used to send them to my room because we made the point that it was like, well, sending them to their room is where all their toys and stuff are. So why would you send them there? Or we would have them sit in like a timeout type thing, but we didn't like, that was punishment, right? That's your punishment. In this household, if you did something wrong, you would be chained up or you would be starved or maybe both. That's what happened when you did something bad. Now, by the time Carl is 5 years old, he has already become a thief and a liar. And the older he grew, the more he did, the meaner he became, to the point where like people didn't like him at all. Not to be like siding with Carl, but like, listen.
Yeah, if you're getting chained
if my
up
family was like that, I don't think I'd be a very
starved,
fucking
like,
happy
you're gonna lie
person.
about everything so you don't get in trouble.
Right. So at 7 years old, Carl's father decides, fuck this family, and leaves. So now he abandons his whole ass family and their farm, which is probably not any better for Carl and his brothers and sisters because now the dad's gone. So now who's going to take up for what the dad was doing? Now at 8 years old, this age is what starts a very long life of run-ins with the law for Carl at 8 years old. What do you think an 8-year-old would be charged with?
Well, if he's stealing and lying, I mean, my guess would be stealing something.
Right? Or he could have just been charged with drunk and disorderly.
I mean, if the shoe fits.
He's 8.
Hey, he's had a rough life so far. Yeah, he's got to drown it out.
He is charged with drunk and disorderly at 8 years old. That's not funny.
That's crazy.
But it's funny to say it out loud. Now at 12 years old, he is arrested again for being drunk and incorrigible that time. Incorrigible. They said he's drunk and he's out of hand. Now, another occasion at the age of 12, he also goes to his neighbor's home and he steals food from the neighbor and he also steals a gun from the neighbor. Now, after this, his mother was like, I'm fucking done with you. Get out of my house. I'm sending you to the Minnesota State Training School, a reformatory school.
Yeah, we can see how well that worked.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm sending you there because I'm going to straighten your ass out. And for all of you who are new here, myself, I am totally against reform schools because I think they're worthless. And I am totally against boys' homes because I think they're terrible. And I'm also against juvenile detention centers because nothing is done correctly in those facilities. So I am sure this reformatory school
it's not the fact of what they are, it's how they're ran.
Yeah, they could be. They have the potential to do some of the best things, and it's always mismanaged, underfunded, and run by people who don't give two shits about what happens to the kids who are there. Now, according to Carl, he received multiple beatings and was tortured by the staff members at this training school that he went to. He said that they took place in an area at the facility that was deemed the painting house by pretty much all the kids who were at this school. The room got this nickname by the kids because if you were brought to the room when you left, the room would be painted in colorful bruises and blood because you'd be beat the shit out of while you were in there. So he does end up eventually burning down the painting room and the school in 1905. Now, he was never...
Can't be mad at him for that.
No. And he was never suspected or caught for this, by the way. So in 1906, now at this point, he's at a different school because, well, the training school he was at burned down while he was there. So he is released from Red Wing Training School. So he was sent to a different training school. And he was at this training school also because he had been stealing money from his mother. Okay. So he goes to the one, burns it down, goes home, steals from his mom, and she says, get the fuck out. I'm sending you to another training school. How about the Red Wing training school? And so he goes to there, does his thing. He's released. He is then arrested. After being released from the Red Wing training school, he is arrested in Butte, Montana for burglary. He is sentenced to 1 year at Montana State Reform School. None of these.
And how old is he at this point?
He was born in 1891 and it's 1906.
So 15.
So he's 15. So that's why he's not going to jail. Yeah, 15. So he's not going to jail because
he's still a minor.
You're still a minor, yeah. So he's sentenced to this 1 year at this Montana State Reform School. And during his time here, he actually ends up assaulting a guard with a wooden board. And he actually spends time in solitary confinement for that assault. And in 1907, Carl and another inmate actually escape from this school. And they go on to steal guns, rob people, rob homes, break into stores, burn buildings, especially churches. Now, the two guys end up parting ways once they hit Fargo, North Dakota, and they go off on their own at 15, maybe 16 by this time. Now, in his mid-teens, he's also an alcoholic, and he has committed multiple burglaries and thefts, and he is in constant trouble with the law. He runs away from home when he's 14. He also tells that he was gang raped by a group of men on a train during that time when he ran away when he was 14. He had hopped on a train and there was a group of homeless men that he says gang raped him. Then in 1907, so after he gets out, or after he escapes and he's gone past Fargo, North Dakota, he decides he's going to enlist in the Army. Maybe a good plan. But within a year of being in the Army, he is actually convicted of larceny and is sent to Fort Leavenworth's United States Disciplinary Barracks. So he didn't do very well. And he has served...
And he just goes to the military reform school.
Yes. And he has served a 2-year sentence for that. And he is released in 1910. So he stays in there, does his time, gets out 2 years later. 2 years later. He gets released again in 1910, and then he is dishonorably discharged after that, which makes sense because, that's how it goes. And by the way, the larceny that he did, it was like for $88 or something. He stole $88. But back then in 1907, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So as an adult, he continues his life of crime. He does tons of burglaries. He is sent to jail multiple times as well. Even while he's in prison, he gets into trouble. So he's never not in trouble. He would attack guards while he was in prison. He would fail to follow orders from any of the guards. And the guards would then beat Carl in retaliation for the fact that he wasn't listening to them.
And how...
Which is so wrong.
What's
I'm
crazy
not for that.
You still hear about that within the reform schools and shit like that.
Yeah.
You still hear about this abuse to this day.
And it's terrible.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, crazy is the best word I could think of. So he also is basically a drifter during this time too. So he's getting arrested and going to jail in multiple different states for multiple different things like burglary and stuff like that. So he's not sitting in one place. He's committing a shit ton of crimes and then traveling all around. And he also is doing odd jobs to kind of, survive, I guess. Now,
and all I can think of is because I'm picturing in my head him traveling and stuff like that, and because it was the late 1800s into the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Of the timeline so far, and I'm thinking Oregon Trail, he's on a horse and.
I don't think so. I don't think that. He was taking trains. Actually.
I know. I just. For some reason.
He was born in late 1800s, so when he's doing this traveling, it's in the 1900s.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's just where my mind goes.
Like a wagon.
Yeah.
Being on the wagon. So, there is one job that he does get while he's in St. Louis, Missouri. Okay? St. Louis?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Meet me in St. Louis. That's a song.
People say it either way.
So, maybe it's St. Louis. So he finds this job in Missouri and he is exceptionally good at it. To the point where it's the higher ups of this career are like, Dunzo, like you're one of the best ones we've had. And this job is, he is hired as a what they called a strike beater. Okay, that's what he was hired as. Now, his literal job was to beat the shit out of union members. I can't.
That's some really mob shit right there.
I'm not making it up. I swear to God. He was hired by people to go to the union strikes and beat the union workers.
Okay.
And he was really good at it. So much so that the higher ups were like, we're sending you to Illinois.
Like, hey, you cracking skulls.
So they actually recommend that he gets moved to another city where they're having issues. And they're like, we got the guy. we got the guy for you. And so within days of him arriving in Illinois and doing the shit he does, people are pissed at him. They don't like him. His behavior is appalling because he's really good at his job. And by the way, he's like a big, strong guy, right? Also, never mind the fact that he did 2 years like hard labor at military camp. So like he's strong as fuck, right? And so they're pissed at him. So some of the locals, they actually trap him in an alley and beat him until he's unconscious, like as a retaliation. So
I'm
then,
curious how many locals it took.
Yeah, no shit. So then he is actually taken, after they beat him unconscious, they take him to the police and they put him in jail. Because I think the job he was doing was not like a legal job. Like I think it was like an under the radar. Like
this dude's walking around just beating people's
asses.
I
think he was beating them up, but I think he was paid to beat them up by whoever was trying to be against the union members. And so I think he was paid by that, but it wasn't like a legal job. Like he wasn't legally supposed to be beating these people up, right? So he gets in jail, and then the people who employed him actually bail him out of jail. Like they bail him out and they're like, we got you, guy. But Carl at this point is like, I'm tired of this shit, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad.
He's like, I'm not doing it anymore. And so he's like, I'm going to Mexico. Fuck this. I'm out. So he's making his way now to Mexico through the United States from Illinois, which is kind of a long way, by the way. Like Illinois is like up at the northern part of the United States. And he's got to get all the way down to the south. Now, while on his way to Mexico, he actually gets arrested in Jacksonville, Texas, and he is sentenced to hard labor. And within 2 months of his sentence into hard labor, he actually escapes from the prison he's in.
So that's 2 escapes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And to do this escape, as soon as he escapes, he actually ends up hopping on a train, which ends up stopping the train. So he's on this train, and the train ends up like halting. And it evacuates everybody because there's a big fire that had broken out in this city. And so they stopped the train, told everybody they got to get out. So he's like, oh, of course, like, let me help. Like, I'm a big burly guy. Let me help you. What do you need? And so they were like, oh, hey, gentlemen, that's very nice. What we'd love for you to do is go to the houses, make sure people are out, help. And he's like, cool, I got it. And so he does that. But what he's actually doing is he's going to the houses to go rob the homes of the people who have evacuated their homes because he knows nobody's there. So, and he's got the fire to basically, people aren't paying attention to him because they're crazy about this big fire that's broken out. And so he goes into these homes and these businesses and he just starts stealing all this shit from them.
That reminds me of the fires in LA because people were, they had all the roadblocks up and stuff, because people were coming into the houses that were evacuated and stealing all their shit.
Yeah, looting.
Yeah.
Yep, that he was like the original looter. That's what he was.
Maybe that was one of his nicknames.
He started the looting. No, I'm just kidding. So he then, after he steals what he needs to steal, he ends up making his way to Ciudad Juarez in Mexico. So he does make it to Mexico. And he ends up meeting another man there, and the two of them actually travel together for a little bit, and they do end up parting ways, and they absolutely do rob people's homes, and they absolutely do steal shit from people. Now, Carl is disappointed by the life in Mexico because the thing is, his whole entire plan was that he was going to go to Mexico, steal a bunch of fucking shit from people, and live his life. The problem is the cities that he went to, and at the time that this was going on, a lot of the cities had already had people come through and loot their homes, and there was nothing left in the cities that he was going to. So he's pissed because he's like, I wasted my time to come all the way to California, to all the way to Mexico to steal from these people and the audacity they have to already have been taken from. So he's upset. So in 1911, he is now back in California. Okay. And he is arrested under the alias of Jefferson Davis for stealing a bicycle. Now, he is sentenced to 6 months in jail for this stealing of this bicycle. And he does escape within 30 days.
Of course he does.
So he then, after doing this, since California is right by Oregon, he hops on a train and makes his way to Oregon. And he's living in Oregon, and he actually gets a legitimate job as a logger. Like, he actually gets a job. He's a logger for quite some time. Until 1913. He is arrested under the alias Jack Allen for highway robbery, assault, and sodomy in the Dalles, Oregon. So he had done that stuff in the Dalles. And he goes to jail. And he escapes
For how long?
after 2 months.
Yeah.
Now he is arrested again in Harrison, Idaho after he escapes. And he is arrested under the name Jeff Davis. But, of course, he escapes from their county jail as well. So then he is arrested again under the name Jeff Davis in Malta, Montana for disorderly conduct. Then information comes in as they're like looking shit up that he also is wanted for breaking into a dentist office, stealing a woman's fur coat and a tube of gold. Okay?
Give me that gold.
On April 27th, 1913, so they've been finding all this stuff out. The Chinook police, they come to pick him up because they're like, well, these crimes happened where we are. So we're taking him from you, Montana. We're taking him back with us. And he is then booked under the name Jefferson Davis under the name Jefferson Davis again. And he's sentenced to 1 year for burglary by the Chinook County. And this was in April that he was taken back in. On November 13th of 1913, so the same year,
He escapes.
within a week. Oh, sorry. Yes, he escapes. Now, within a week, he is arrested again in Three Forks, and he is arrested under the name Jeff Rhodes for burglary. And he actually stays in jail that time. He does stay in jail that time. So on March 3rd, 1915, so now we're like 2 years later, he is released from prison. And he hops on the train and he's like, I'm just going to start riding it out. So from March until June, he basically is,
A hobo.
I don't know if he's doing that. I don't know if he's just like a nomad or if he's just drifting, right? So he goes to Washington, he goes to Idaho, Nebraska, South Dakota, and he's just like doing like little bouts of shit at all these places. Then on June 1st of 1915, he's back now in Oregon. So he's like Washington, Idaho, Nebraska, South Dakota, Oregon. Goes back, okay? Now, while he's in Oregon, he burglarizes a home in Astoria, Oregon. And he gets caught trying to sell the stolen items and is arrested under the name Jeff Baldwin. Do you see how many aliases he's had? Now, he is sentenced to 7 years for this. And I'm assuming that the shit he stole was really expensive. And that's why he got such a high sentence. Because in my head, I'm like, 7 years seems like
Or
a
they
lot.
realized who he was and they've added on.
I don't know, man. Back in 1915, I don't know if they
Yeah.
had the abilities to share different places. I don't know. So he is sentenced to 7 years in the Oregon State Penitentiary. Like big prison. And he actually does, while he's there, he actually helps another inmate escape. Like, he doesn't necessarily escape, but he helps
like, look, I'm
somebody
going to tell you what
escape.
to do.
Yeah. And this actually leads to the murder of the warden, Harry Minto. And this is the first time that Carl has ever been associated with murder, because he was associated with murder after the fact, or murder before the fact or something. There was a charge they brought against him because had he not helped this guy escape, he wouldn't have murdered the warden, right? So on September 8th of 1917, Carl escapes from Oregon State Penitentiary. And this actually involved 2 different shootouts. However, he is actually recaptured. So he is recaptured. On May 12th of 1918, he escapes again by sawing the bars off of his cell. And he jumps on a train and heads east.
Like they just left a saw laying
Literally,
around.
I can't figure. First of all, he's the one that should have been in Alcatraz. It wasn't available quite yet, but that he was the prime candidate for somebody to be on Alcatraz.
Probably why they started talking about it.
So Carl begins to now, at this point, he decides he's going to go by the name John O'Leary. So he's now living in the East, and he's like, I'm calling myself John O'Leary. He shaves off his mustache to make sure that makes it to where nobody knows who he is, which I know sounds like the most minute thing to do, but let me tell
it changes
you,
the face.
when Jay has shaved his beard and left just a mustache, oh no, it's not even the same person. When Jay has shaved like all of his facial hair, you would not think it was the same person. Like one little thing like that can absolutely change how you think of somebody. Now he again becomes a drifter, and he's like finding different ways to survive and make money. Obviously stealing is the main way he does it. He is now 27 years old. Like, I feel like he's lived a lifetime at this point.
Like he's 50.
Like, that's what I was going to say. Like, at this point, I feel like he's been to jail and shit so many times that it's like he's like 45 years old. No, he's just been to jail multiple times in years, right?
Yeah.
Like, multiple times, and he doesn't ever stay. He's escaping from all of them, which also, what the fuck? Was it just really easy to escape from prison back then? Or was it that he was a big guy and he was like, I don't understand how he escaped so many times, but he did. So he ends up joining a labor union to obtain his seaman's card. So he goes and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get my card so that I can basically drive yachts and boats and stuff. And during this time, he also has to sail on a bunch of different ships because he's doing the work. And he even claimed, now, by the way, people remember at this point, he has not killed anybody. Do you notice how he's 27 years old and has not killed anybody? He's just a fucking thief, and he steals and then he beats up people and he escapes. But he hasn't killed anybody. So he even claims that he actually helped a sailor who was drunk as shit steal a small boat. And he said that they stole this boat and there were a bunch of people on board. And he said that all the people who were on board were killed. And the sailor was arrested for it. The drunken sailor. He was not. I don't know if he just wasn't around or what. Now, he sailed to Port Arthur, Texas. Then he sails to Glasgow, Scotland. So now he's going international, baby. He's going international. He gets off the boat in Scotland and he crosses to Southampton and London after a brief stint in jail. He gets in trouble there too.
No.
Then he goes to France. Then he goes to Germany. And basically by the time he's in Germany, he has run out of money. He is running out of basically things to steal. He's running out of places to go. And so he's like, fuck it. I guess I'll head back to the United States.
Guess I'll go home.
So September 16th of 1920. So he's now 29 years old and he's back in the United States. Carl decides that it's a very good idea for him to burglarize the William H. Taft Mansion in New Haven. Now, this was the residence of a former United States president. So he literally goes to a former United States president's home.
The name sounded familiar.
And he decides he's going to steal from that house. He steals a shit ton of jewelry, shit tons of bonds, a watch that was engraved, and a Colt M1911 .45 caliber handgun. Now he uses the money. This is how much fucking money this man stole. To buy a boat. He bought a boat with the money he stole from this mansion. Okay? Buying this boat starts his 8 years of murder. This spans over multiple states and many counties, and it involves multiple victims. So what he would do is he would lure people away from their comfort zone. So their home, they could be at a bar, they could be at a restaurant, they could be hanging out at the park with their friends, and he lures them away and brings them onto his boat, gets them drunk as fuck, rapes them, and murders them with that stolen gun. And then he will dump their bodies near Execution Rocks Light in the Long Island Sound. Now, Carl claims that he killed 10 men specifically this way. So his claim is that he killed 10 men by doing exactly that. And most of them, he would go to the bars. And probably they were already drinking. And so he'd probably be like, hey, you want to come back to my boat? And then they'd drink some more. And then he'd do the things that he did. And then he'd kill them. And then he'd dump their bodies. Then on October 3rd of 1920, the boat sinks.
Oh, no.
Oh, darn. The boat sinks and he is rescued by Captain Henry Brown. On October 26th, 1920, Carl is then arrested for burglary because now he's back to his old stunts because now he's got nothing, and possession of a loaded handgun. And he serves 6 months in prison for this. And he does serve 6 months in prison for this. So after serving his 6 months, he's released and he heads to Philadelphia. And while he's in Philadelphia, he's actually involved in a shootout with the police on May 16th, 1921. And he gets captured when he runs out of bullets. Now,
That's a shitty way to get
Yeah.
captured. Like, oh, damn.
now he is arrested and they like bring him in and they're like, you tried to shoot the fucking cops. Like, you're going to jail. He's like, okay. So they decide to release him on bail while he's waiting for his trial. And he runs away to Norfolk, Virginia. Doesn't stick around.
Didn't see that coming.
He does end up then hopping onto a boat and he ends up in Africa. I don't even, again, this guy's all over the place.
All over the place.
He causes a shit ton of problems in Africa. There was so much stuff he did that I was like, this was like already at the point where I was like, my God, this is going to be forever. This includes rape, burglary. There was a murder of a young boy. He also claimed that he shot 6 people who were rowing, like they were in a boat and they were rowing in the boat, and he shot them and then tossed them overboard into crocodile-infested waters.
Fuck is wrong with this guy?
I know. Now, he does end up returning back to America, obviously. When he decides he's not able to find a place that he can stay. Like, he's not able to find a place that he can just settle down roots. Well, bitch, stop killing people and stealing.
No shit.
Like, maybe you could find a place to settle down. Now, he says that
Stop breaking the law, asshole.
Exactly. Now, he does say that when he was back in the United States, he actually did kill 2 small boys. He said one of them he beat to death with a rock on July 18th, 1922. And he said that he strangled the other one in New Haven. The first boy was in Salem, Massachusetts, and the other one was in New Haven. In June of 1923, he then kills a man while attempting to rob. Like, this man was attempting to rob him. Like, should rob Carl, so Carl kills this man. He also claims that he had killed another person while he was burglarizing their home. And then he does admit to killing 2 more young boys in Philadelphia, one in 1921 and one in 1928. Okay, so these are all things that he's admitted to. He continues to go on and rob, rape, and murder men for fucking 8 years. So on August 30th of 1928, Carl is arrested in Washington, D.C. for burglary. Surprise. Now it was, okay, so 1928. He would have been, 47?
37.
He's only 37? I told you, I feel like he should be 100 by now.
Yeah.
So what did you say, 37?
37.
Okay, so he's arrested for, again, burglary. And it is during the interrogation that they're talking to him about this burglary that he decides this is the moment that he's going to confess to some murders. I have no idea why.
He's like, I'm tired, Grandpa.
That's what I think. I'm like, okay. So he admits to killing a boy in Salem to the police. He admits to killing a boy in Connecticut, and he admits to killing a boy in Philadelphia. So he tells them 3 boys that he killed, and he tells them not a ton of details, but tells them enough to where they can go out and like see if these are true. They are able to corroborate 2 of the 3. They can't find enough evidence for the third one. So they decide they're going to convict him, or not convict him. They're going to arrest him and charge him. He is tried and he is convicted of 2 of the boys' murders. He was given 25 years to life. He tells the warden that he will kill the first person who bothers him. So the warden's like, or they say 25 years to life. They send him to jail. He's like, hello, warden.
He's like, hey, listen.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to kill the first motherfucker who bothers me.
Keep me out of Gen Pop.
Yeah. So on June 20th, 1929, he kills Robert Warnke, the prison laundry foreman. He bashed him to death with an iron bar because he fucking bothered him. So he is then tried and convicted for this murder as well. And this time he receives the death penalty, to which he was like, come at me, bro. Like, great.
Hey, warden, person who tries to put me to death.
I fucking
I'm gonna
told
probably
you.
Kill him.
And then he refused to appeal the sentence. Like, a lot of people would reach out to him and like, listen, like, which
Hey, he was just done with
I'm
life.
going to tell you right
Dude
now.
was 93 years old
I know.
at this point.
I know. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not even fucking playing. I understand that we have an issue with the death penalty, and I understand that people have a problem with it. But this man is just really nilly killing people. He don't give two damn shits about nothing. Give me a break. He deserved the death penalty at this point. So he refuses to appeal, won't do it, wants nothing to do with it. On September 5th of 1930, Carl is executed by hanging. So he is hanged. He reportedly spit in the face of the executioner when the hood was placed on his head. And his final words were,
Come at me, bro.
hurry it up, you Hoosier bastard. I could have killed a dozen men while you were just fooling around.
Wow.
So
To the point.
that is the story of Carl Panzram. I do have some shots.
And that's what we want to hear. Let's hear these shots.
You will like these shots. So Carl did admit that he was, as he quote said, he was a rotten yegg.
My yeggs.
He said, I was a rotten yegg. But he also said that any bit of decency he had left was smashed, kicked, and bashed out of him when he went to Fort Leavenworth prison.
Yeah, I bet.
I do too. Now he wrote an autobiography. That's where a lot of this information comes from. So it's like it is not hearsay. It's from his own fucking mouth.
Right.
So he did write an autobiography. And in his autobiography, he actually said, and I quote, I am the spirit of meanness personified.
I mean, at least he knows.
And then he also said that he would often rape the men that he robbed. Like that was part of what he wanted to do. And he didn't give a shit. He said as long as they weren't rusted.
Like, I'm not sure what rusted means. It's old.
He said as long as they weren't rusted or rusty. If they weren't rusty, he said, I didn't give a shit what they look like. He said, tall, short, fat, skinny, white, black. It didn't matter to me.
Interesting. I'm going to have to Google what rusty means.
Now, one of his intake forms, this is... He's laughable, but also I'm like, what a terrible person. But the shit he did, I'm like, goddamn. Like, okay. So one of the things he put on his intake forms, one of the times when he was put in prison, you fill out a little form that says who you are. They asked like, what's your occupation? And he said, a thief.
Again, at least he's telling the truth.
He's got jokes.
He's like, look.
He's like, that's I do.
That's why I'm here.
a thief. Now, Carl had actually considered becoming a hitman. Actually, when he came back from Germany. When he came back from Germany, he was like, you know what? I could probably kill some people and it's not going to bother me one bit. Like, I mean, he was definitely a sociopath. Let's not lie, because he didn't give two shits about what he was doing. But he was like, I could do this. I could make some money. I could kill people. It's not a big deal. He even went to the point where he actually went to a man with his gun and said, can you create a silencer for my weapon? And the guy was like, sure. So the guy makes a silencer, gives it to him. He goes out, shoots the gun, and is like, nah, that's still too loud. I can't be a hitman.
You think he was just going to be like...
He's like, oh, I can't do it. I can't be a hitman. It's too loud. So he said, and I quote, if that heavy calibered pistol and the silencer had only worked as I thought it would, I would have gone into the murder business on a wholesale scale. Now, he also claimed that he had considered putting arsenic in the city's water supply so he could kill people in the masses.
Damn.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Now, activists did try to help Carl. They came forward multiple times. They would write letters. They would try to talk to him and be like, we want to help you appeal your death sentence because we are against the death penalty. And Carl was like, okay. So he sent them death threats.
He's like, appeal this,
Now, there was a prison guard. His name was Henry Lesser, and he actually does end up being the one who writes out Carl's life story and publishes it. He had become friendly. He was one of the only people that ever was able to become friendly with Carl. And he had actually encouraged Carl, after talking to him for so long in prison, that he should write about his life.
Yeah, because he's like, motherfucker,
I'm saying,
lived 100 years in 25 years.
So he would actually slip him paper and pencils to jot things down. And then Henry kept the writings and turned them into the book. So this autobiography is Henry's writings, but it's published by the prison guard. The book was actually published under one name, and then it's been republished since, and it's actually called Panzram, A Journal of Murder. You most definitely bet your ass I'm buying that book because I want to see this shit like up close and personal. So, as if you can not see already how mean of a person Carl was, I'm just going to end this with a few quotes from Carl Panzram himself. A few by 5. Okay. These are all quotes from him, written by him in his autobiography or, said to people. First quote. I look forward. Okay, so this is after he was sentenced to death. I look forward to a seat in the electric chair or dance at the end of a rope, just like some folks do for their wedding night.
All right.
He also said, the only thanks you and your kind will ever get from me for your efforts on my behalf is that I wish you all had one neck and that I had my hands on it. I have no desire whatever to reform myself. My only desire is to reform people who try to reform me, and I believe that the only way to reform people is to kill them.
And that's his death threats that he sent out.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that's what it was. You're right.
Yeah.
You're totally right. He also said, I have broken every law that was ever made by both man and God. If either had made any more, I should very cheerfully have broken them also. He also said, you will find that I have consistently followed one idea through all my life. I preyed upon the weak, the harmless, and the unsuspecting. It's true.
Damn, good thing. Yeah, good thing they did catch him.
And here's his final quote. In my lifetime, I have murdered 21 human beings. I have committed thousands of burglaries, robberies, larcenies, arsons, and last but not least, I have committed sodomy on more than 1,000 male human beings. For all of these things, I am not in the least bit sorry.
Yeah, that last one's pretty fucked.
He's a terrible person.
Terrible.
And that's the story of Carl Panzram.
Yeesh.
I did not know when I opened my book to Carl Panzram. I was like,
this isn't what you were expecting.
This guy? No. He is the true epitome of a serial killer who deserved the death penalty. I mean, genuinely, he would have never stopped. And he didn't care. He died literally telling people, like, I could give a shit about any of you people. I mean, hello, he told them to hurry up. Like, he wasn't afraid to die. He was just done.
Yeah, it's like, let's do this.
So he was killed. By the way, he was put to death in 1930. So he was
39.
There you go. He was 39 years old when he had the death penalty. But my God, this man has been committing crimes since he was 8. Drunk and disorderly, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that one might be the craziest one out of all of them.
Like, it's just insane to me. But anyways, I really hope that you enjoyed the story of Carl Panzram, because I'll be honest, out of all of the episodes I've done for Fatal Blend, I can genuinely say this one, even though it's not funny. It's not funny. I laugh because it's my fucking
coping mechanism.
It's my coping mechanism. It's not funny, but some of the shit he said was funny to me. And to be honest, he was probably the most entertaining one that I've done so far. Not entertaining as like, wow, this is really cool. Entertaining as in the amount of information I got on his background is the most I've ever gotten on anybody.
Yeah, no, this was a big background one.
And the fact that his background makes up most of his story is exactly what I love. I love when I can find this background information out, because it's just like, holy shit, the amount of times he escaped from jail, the amount of times he went to jail, the fact that he started going to jail when he was 8 years old and he was drunk and disorderly, for damn sake. Like, I thought he was a very entertaining person to research. I don't think he's an entertaining person because he did anything good. I think he was a terrible person, and I think he definitely got what he deserved. I just wish they would have caught him sooner. But it's just funny, his ideas about stuff. Like, he is a true 100% sociopath because he just doesn't care. So anyways, if you like what you hear, if you like listening to me and Jay chitty chat about serial killers, please make sure you're following us, which you most likely are if you're listening to this. And if you want to, share us with all of your friends and family that you think might also enjoy our little discussions of serial killers. Other than that, I'm just going to say thank you so much one more time for listening to me tell you the story about Carl Panzram, the man with so many fucking aliases I couldn't even tell you his nickname.
The 8-year-old drunk.
The 8-year-old drunk. Until next week, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Remember to lock your doors and bar your windows. Until next time.